Well, hi, another quick content video from me, hopefully short and snappy as I always say, but sometimes I just get so excited and so passionate explaining about little things that I discover in the classroom that it goes on for minutes. So do excuse me if I go over, but I thought this might be helpful, might be something that you'd like to listen to and maybe try out for yourself. This one it doesn't really have a special name. I am exploring how to use different resources that I already have, existing resources, in a better way, using the same resource in different ways that are enjoyable, that remain enjoyable and remain really effective. Seems to me a no-brainer. That seems to me, if I can get 2, 3, 4 really fun activities out of one resource, that's a fairly significant, return for investment, So this one's with Quizlet. Now I do have Quizlet Plus and I have it through the school. I think sometimes, depending if you have fewer resources, it's better to go for the paid version if you have fewer. But certainly not as a default, have the paid version for everything that you have. There might be a better option. I might not choose it because it's more expensive. I might also not choose it because I've got an existing tool that I'm more acquainted with, that I prefer, that the kids are more familiar with. There can be all sorts of surrounding reasons why one resource is better than another. So I'm also going to talk about Quizlet. I'm also going to talk about this, which is, for all intents and purposes, just a ball. Okay, it doesn't matter that it's a rugby ball. So we're going to click on, well, first of all, this is Wie war deine Kindheit? This is my 4th form, so my year 10 German class. Really nice bunch of boys. I've got 6 boys in the class, down from 8. 2 boys decided to move. Again, mea culpa. I appreciate that I have small class sizes with some of my classes. I hope that this can be of use to you regardless of how big your class is, though I appreciate it is a really different skill set and environment, teaching context, if you've got 30. That really is, that's hard. I've been there, did that with my PGC, did that as well in another school. It is tough. So this is all about childhood. Just for your interest, the linguistic sort of structure that we're trying to teach is, as a child, or when I was 10 years old, when I was younger, I had. And in classic sentence builder sort of chunky style, inspired by Conti, I suppose, we try and teach the grammar implicit in the sentences and just help them practice it. So clicking on Learn, we come across this random page. Before we do anything, I click on Options and I make sure that we've only got these 2, flashcards and multiple choice. Now, it depends whether you want to have a very specific game and everything's the same, then you would only have 1. Just as a quick FYI, if I'm ever doing Quizlet tests, what I found with my private students, individual students online, but also in the class, unless I'm being very, very specific and there's maybe 5 to 10 questions, I have not perceived any benefit in the boys doing written questions for short, sharp, snappy vocab tests. Unless the number is very specific and the sentence is very, very specific and I'm wanting to test something specific, written questions for a Quizlet test, they really don't do it for me. And it takes the children a long time often. Particularly if you've got, I've got Quizlet sets with 20, 30, 40 items in. I try to include everything in the sentence builder. The written, honestly, we're talking an hour, sometimes 2 hours, where the kids have, really diligent kids, don't want to disappoint the teacher, have the misconception, okay, I've explained to them that it wasn't necessary, but they still wanted to get it right and perfect. Just do multiple choice. Multiple choice questions, I find, for a short, sharp, snappy vocab test, you're still testing them. Yes, it isn't the higher and highest level linguistic skill, but it's still important. They're still clicking on the right answer. And if you've got a Quizlet set that's got lots of very, very similar sentences, that can also be a great way to make that test even more effective, because they are actually then having to distinguish and discern between similar language. That's by the by, but that's just something I've learned as well in terms of Quizlet tests. So I make sure that I've got multiple choice and flashcards. That works really well just to keep the boys on their toes. It jumps back and forth between the two different activities, so it doesn't feel samey. And then, depending on how difficult I want to make it, the lesson I had yesterday with the fourth form German, we just introduced it, so they answered with English. Okay, so it means that they received German and they were working with the German in order to give the English, and that's easier, obviously, than English to German. Now, this is really cool. I think this is with Quizlet Plus. I think otherwise you only get standard correction. But the smart correction, I don't fully understand it, but basically if you're doing writing and spelling, it's very, very obvious what's going on. But with smart correction, what also seems to happen with Quizlet is it works to bring stuff back. Well, I'll show you in a second, but it brings language back to you that you'd got wrong. So this is a very basic algorithm, but it is really helpful. And it's actually super helpful as a teacher because, let's say Adam got the question wrong. Well, it goes, and then it comes back, and then I can ask Adam again. Or, and this is another little tip that I reflect on often, Adam might really struggle with it. I can give that repeated question to a higher ability student. Adam can hear the correct answer, and then maybe quite apart from the Quizlet test, I can just go to Adam, just remind me, and give him an opportunity to get it right. It's just helping support good teaching practice, good formative assessment. Okay, so we've made sure that we've got all of our options, that the test is the way we want it to be. And then what I did, just totally randomly, I'm a rugby coach as well. I have a school rugby coach. And there was a ball lying around. I figured, pull the electronics away. It's not going to break anything. But let's see if this adds a different element to the boys. Boy, did it add a different element. And it really worked. So yes, it's a smaller group, so there wasn't any boisterous craziness, okay? But if a boy wanted to give an answer, just a quick pop pass and they got the ball, and just added a tactile element. It really upped the competitiveness in a positive way. It was kind of a restrained competitiveness. And so what I'd do is I'd say for the flashcards, this is quite difficult. So if it was starting on flashcards, I would give them a little bit of help, maybe give them a chance to get it wrong, and then they can still get it right. You got 2 chances, right? So there you go. And if they got it wrong, you can click on still learning. Now, I'll just change the options so that I can show you it with the multiple choice. Multiple choice is really great because there's loads of answers there. And as you can see, I've been quite sneaky. It's all got modern generations in. So they can't just recognize 2 keywords and then get it right straight away, because that's the only one it could be. Now they've really got to try. And if they've, practiced it a few times, if I set the Quizlet set as a homework for 20 minutes the night before, then I can be fairly confident that they've seen a lot of the vocab, that they've gone through it. I might even just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then they lose the chance, and then the quickest hand, gets to steal the question they can answer. I got them to just score points, mini whiteboards, pens, keep a record, gives them an opportunity to earn some merits. They really love the competitive element. So that's kind of a way that I used Quizlet Learn yesterday, and had a ball just to kind of add some spice and some different sort of experience to what fundamentally is basic vocab. Is basic vocab learning, but I just changed the structure of it, and it's really, really worked for them. And they absolutely loved it. For the first time ever, I had a student just sit back and go, gosh, this is really working. I just remember it. And it was just because we spent half an hour. That's how long we did, guys, half an hour. And they were with it, really enthusiastic the whole time. So there you go, Quizlet Learn with a different sort of tactile element to add a bit of competition, score the points, add a timer, with your hands to add a bit of pressure if you need to, click still learning if, they don't get it right, or if they needed a bit of help, you say, you still got the point, you still won the point, but I'm just going to click still learning so we get an opportunity to recap it. really worked. So I commend it to you. Again, I talked about decision fatigue yesterday. I wasn't having a bad day necessarily, but things were just getting on top of me, and having this as an extremely effective zero prep, the only thing that needs to be prepped is the Quizlet set in advance, just really, really effective. So I was really happy about it, and I wanted to share that with all you internet people. So have a great day. I'll hopefully hear back from you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments on what works for you. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.